go. We're going. We are away. John, thank you very much for joining me. For those of you who don't know, this is John Morgan, and I've named him the County Carpool Karaoke King. And there seems to be a lot more about you than carpool karaoke, given your recent Facebook posts. I've got to say, I'm a big fan of your guitar playing, mate. You know, you obviously pluck away at that instrument really well.
Oh, thank you, mate. I mean, I don't know. I say for me, it's been all the little things I miss about football. So, I mean, all I'm doing is I'm going on the guitar, playing songs that remind me of being at Bar Amber, going on the Albert bus for an away day, and yeah, for me, it's a little bit of me still keeping in touch with, I don't know, that football culture I miss, really. So and then obviously there's the weird ones as well, to be honest. So.
Yeah, mate. I mean, you know, in times like this, you know, you're going to get a lot of weird shit going on in you, a lot of weird shit going heads, and that's going to transmit out through social media as it will. Yeah. You know. So, talk about the football. You're obviously missing it a lot, mate.
Oh, mate. I mean, do you know what? I'd even go and watch a Gwent League game if they just said, right, Gwent League is going to start in a couple of weeks' time or a couple of months' time, and they're going to slow. I'd happily go and watch, Cullinan versus Corries or something like that. And I just miss football. I miss watching it. I mean, I was sat at on Sunday night. It was 1:30 or 2:00 in the morning, and I just watched Belgium versus Wales in the Euro qualifiers. And I was on Wales versus Israel. At 1:30, 2:00 in the morning, I'm watching 2 full 90-minute games of Welsh football.
And that's the thing, though. I mean, it's not the same, though, because you know what the score is going to be. It's not the same. I mean, one of the big things about watching football is obviously that not knowing what's going to happen, because football's so unpredictable. You know, I mean, you could be watching Man City at home versus Wolves, for example. And we know in that fixture this season, Wolves obviously beat them 2-0. But who would have thought that is the way that scoreline would have been? But at the beginning of the game, you'd be looking at it thinking, Man City are going to win this 2-0, 3-0. And that's the beauty of it. That's just never do.
That's what I mean. It's just that the football's so unpredictable. And that's the beauty of it. I mean, you can go into any other sport in the world, and you're probably going to get something similar, really. That's what people are missing.
Yeah.
It's just that unpredictable. And that is the joy of sport, and just enjoying football more than anything. Football, anything can happen. I mean,
yeah, of course.
I just seen recently they had on the County website, they were going through like top debut goals. Who was going to say that Mark O'Brien, of all the players, was going to score a goal that would save our club? Who could predict that?
No. And it's funny enough, obviously I've been sharing from this channel, videos of, footage that I've managed to get, from different games and, important footage. And that was one of the videos I got the most attention, of course, was the aftermath of that goal.
Oh, God. I mean, I still think about it today now, that was an incredible day. I mean, everybody knows where they were when they saw that goal.
Mm-hmm.
And you can relive it all over again. It's just, I will never get bored of watching that goal, especially if somebody puts the Titanic music to it again.
Oh, naturally. I mean, you can rely on Logan Busuttil for that one, can't you?
Yeah, he needs to put the music back to it, because I can't find it on YouTube anywhere.
We've got a copy of that, mate. I'll send that to you later, mate. Yeah.
Oh, mate, I'd love it.
Yeah, I'll get that over to you. No worries at all.
I mean,
so we're talking about that game and that day and how amazing it was and all that. And, it was one of those things where it was great, but for all the wrong reasons. Because, it was part of a relegation fight, but the escape, for me, will mean more to me personally. I don't know if I can speak for everybody else as well, but it'd mean more to me personally than the actual promotion, because the promotion was a step up into something that we didn't have before, whereas we were rescuing, a lot more than just being in the Football League, but the potential that we could have ended up having a knock on because of how bad the money was, or even worst case now, we could have lost the club. So for me, that goal was always more important than winning at Wembley. Never played winning at Wembley, of course.
Just think of how much money that goal essentially would have cost the club. and it's not so much the cost as in what we would have gained in revenue. It's the cost that we would have lost. How many fans would we have lost? That we had just slowly started to regain. There was a couple of ones, obviously, you're going to get with every club. A couple of ones are on the wayside. But what we could have lost, and I remember being there with my old man and my granddad, and my old man was convinced. He was like, we are going to do it. We are going to survive, because he's like, there's nothing else. And no other person you brought was going to ever think at all of what could have happened, because everyone knew where we were going to head. If we went back in the conference, I'm convinced we'd have still been in there now. We wouldn't have had Flinney. We wouldn't have had half the players that we've got, the money, the FA Cup runs. So that's... I know people keep having a go at certain players and saying, "Oh, you can't keep living off a legacy like with O'Brien." But I think some players, they can really, because how important that goal was for the potential loss.
I mean, as you say, I'm glad you brought up the FA Cup runs there, because we've had 2 great FA Cup runs on the back of that, and even in the Carabao Cup, we've still managed to go to Leeds and have West Ham at home as well, and none of that would have been possible if it wasn't for that one goal, if it wasn't for that great escape, to put it into perspective for you, right? All season, right, in 34 league matches, we only won 5 to the point Flynn took over from Wesley. We'd won 5 matches between Wesley and Feeney. We'd won 5 games all season, league matches. And then when Flinney took over, he won 7 out of the last 12. I mean, how does someone just do that?
Against a lot of the top of the half table teams as well. It's not as if we were playing all the bottom half or the middle ones. Every game we were playing against was teams, because there was a massive promotion battle going on at the top with Doncaster maybe, and we were having to play teams like that and have to get a result from them.
Yeah, if I remember right, I mean, the first 2 games were 2 away games as well, and we won them both. Crewe and Morecambe. I mean, I know we had Crawley and Yeovil at home, but then we had Portsmouth away, Plymouth away, and we lost both of them. Blackpool at home, which was Blackpool got promoted that season. We had Carlisle away, who were in the playoffs. We had Accrington at home, who were just missed out on the playoffs because they lost that game. And we finished the season against possibly the highest in the form charts, Notts County. So the games we had, we didn't win. We didn't win against a bunch of dump clubs or anything like that. We actually played some really good teams, and the wins we got from that.
Look at the team that Notts County fielded on that day as well. Now, not only quality, but the experience that team had. I mean, I swear, was Alan Smith in their squad then?
Yeah, he was. He was there.
You had Smith. You had a couple. Who else was in? There's a couple of other big ex-Premier League names. They not just like Championship Premier League stars.
Yeah.
And we went toe to toe with them. I mean, I think we got a bit of luck in the first half with the penalty. I think it was a penalty, but it's one of those ones. If it's given, you're thankful. If it's not given, you're not screaming and shouting about it too much, because it does look like he slipped, really. But
to be fair, though, if you go back during the course of that season and the kind of...
How many penalties did we not have, though? Clear penalties as well.
Something like that had to go our way in the end, didn't it?
I mean, it says a lot when our club is saved by 2 defenders, not strikers.
Yeah, it was Drew and O'Brien who scored that day, wasn't it? Yeah.
And again, that's the unpredictability about football. Like, that buzz around the stadium, everybody knew something was going to happen. They knew something was just going to... It was like a bottle of pop. It all shaken.
Something was going to happen, but no one knew where the goal was coming from, though. It was like, like something...
Because that's what we weren't informed. I mean, you had Mark Samuels. I loved him. He was like Tommy Tynan with his work rate and his air, but he just couldn't score for love nor money. He was a fantastic workhorse, though. And I wouldn't mind having him in the squad now anyway. I think he was a great workhorse. And players like that really do open up space for other players. And football's not about what you do on the ball, it's about what you do off the ball.
Yeah.
And all that stuff that he would do off the ball, the chasing, the harassing, he'd win you a throw in somewhere, or he might just get a tackle in that would flick a ball off and end it to one of your players, and then you score from it.
Yeah.
But even though he's a striker, you'd expect goals from him. I think he does so much more than just get you goals. He creates space and opportunity, and that's what can give you lots of goals, not just one person, because everybody will go to one person then.
Well, Flynn managed to build a bit of momentum. Obviously, the second win was against Morecambe during that 12-game campaign of his, and it was Alex Samuel who actually won the penalty that Bird ended up taking.
See, that's what I mean. That's what he could do. We had some cracking plays. It's a shame that Bird didn't score as many as he could have done for us. I mean, when we had Leno, John Lewis, that guy was just a tank. But again, goals were goals a bit thin on the grains, really. And I think we were lucky that we actually got hold of a striker then with Hammond.
Yeah,
somebody who actually could just bang goals in.
It was the Leeds game that paid for that, wasn't it? Obviously, the money that we earned playing Leeds away, we actually used that money that we earned for that to pay for him to get him from Hartlepool.
And again, if we hadn't have stayed up, as much as people can moan and say Flinny this, Flinny that, look what he's done to a club. All right, this current moment in time, we're going through a sticky patch. We are going through a sticky patch, and it's hard for everyone. And this is where everyone's going to learn. You can't just expect to get a manager at this level who's going to get everything right. He's going to get the best football. He's going to get the best transfers. We are where we are. You just got to appreciate the roller coaster, because that's the beauty of it. You don't know what's going to happen next. It could be an up or it could be a down. But, even if it's a down, there's going to be an up coming.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what they got to realise, right, is Flynn is still a young manager learning his trade. But the thing is, he didn't just orchestrate the Great Escape. Now, the Great Escape is one thing I don't think any manager in world football could hold their hands up and say, yes, I could have done that. I don't think any of them would admit that they could have done that. But he did it. And we progressed. We progressed the season afterwards. We finished higher end of mid-table. Mm-hmm. Then we finished freaking playoffs the season after. And that's along with our cup runs. And then this season, okay, so it's a step backwards. Look how many steps forward he's taken us. But then there are actually fans debating sacking him because of that one little step backwards. It is a small step backwards because we've won games without playing well, but then we've lost games with playing well. For me, I thought the loss against Salford at home, I thought we were by far the better team in that game.
It was ridiculous. It seems to me that there was the difference between last year and this year. As much as people say, oh, look, we've only lost 2 players or 3 players compared to last year and this year, it's things that you've got something which is called an intangible. Now, Chelsea went through this very same experience. Chelsea were doing really, really well. And all of a sudden, they decided that Ray Wilkins was going to leave. Now, Ray Wilkins, he wasn't anyone massive. This is under Mourinho, I think it might have been, or Ancelotti, or one of the managers. It was during that period when Chelsea were just on form. Now, Ray Wilkins, he wasn't a player. He wasn't on the pitch. He wasn't running the squad. He wasn't doing anything, really. But the second you take him out of there, he's an intangible. And that's where things start to fray a little bit. And I wonder what intangible or what thing has been removed from Newport, one tiny thing that has led to this season being a little bit up and down more than most. I don't know if it's where Lenny Lawrence took a little bit of a step back, and maybe with that freedom came obviously a bit more like chaos theory, where you got more freedom, you got more possibilities of things that could go right or go wrong. Is it characters like Pipey? Pipey ran the dressing room.
So your intangible could be David Pipe, potentially.
Because look, he didn't play that many games last season, but I guarantee you, if anybody was slacking, he would have called them out because he'd be like an enforcer. And again, it's all these tiny little things. Again, you look like the sports psychology side of things. You can't put your finger on what they do there and then. But the second something goes, everything just falls apart. It's like the glue, really. You don't notice it.
Yeah.
But the second it's gone, everything just falls off.
Because Flinny mentioned last season that these players that we've got, this great crop of players, and I'm still going to call them great, even though they haven't been great this season, they're still great players in my eyes. He mentioned that the one thing that's stopping them from playing at a higher level is consistency. And I think consistency is all up there.
Agreed.
It's confidence, it's belief, it's being able to feel like you can express your game in the right way, whether the tactics are right for those players. Little things could be going on in the background that completely fucks up the whole dynamic. And I think something has got to the dynamic of the squad this season, because you don't see all these, togetherness type posts that you were seeing last season.
Yeah.
But
I
I've
think
got a statistical reason why it's dropped this season.
Yeah.
I think what you'll look at is, as a manager, Flinney has got to evaluate the season to go into the next season and look at what he can improve upon. Now, the one low point for us, even though we made the playoffs and made it to the final of those playoffs, the one low point was the defensive record. We had a pretty poor defensive record.
Yeah.
So his way of improving us was to address the defensive record, which is why he brought in a goalkeeper to the caliber of Tom King, because I'd imagine that would have been a big chunk of his budget. That's why Kyle Hopkins and Ryan Innes came through the door, because he needed to bolster the defence. And he's obviously altered the style of play in a way that fits players like that in to bolster the defence. And if you look at the comparison between the defensive records, there's a big improvement on that. So what he's intended to do, he's done. But whatever he's altered has had an adverse effect on our ability to attack. Because if you look, Hammond and Matt both had 20 goals plus last season. Yeah. I think Matt isn't even in double figures yet, and we're coming close to the end. So what has changed with our attacking approach to allow us to have a better defence? I think Flynn was hoping that our firepower up front would have been enough to still win games, but win them by the odd goal. Because at the end of the day, we're a results business. I mean, people can call it an entertainment business. I say if you demand entertainment, you're not a supporter, you're a customer.
Yeah.
What do you think, mate?
I totally agree with that. I mean, it's entertaining however you look at it, but at the end of the day, we're results driven. We're fans. We go over this through thick and thin. You just support your team, and that's it. There's no you wanted to win, that's it. But if you just want entertainment, as in you want a great game every game, then you clearly go look at a different league. Go change your team every week if you want, like some people do. If you want to stay consistent and just watch your team grow, you're gonna have to be prepared to watch some crap games. The football is boring, it's dire, and you go, oh God, at least we won today. Like, that was the worst game of football I've ever seen. You might win 1-0, and they might be with like a scuff off someone's knee, might get the goal, and the game's been bitty. It's been boring. It's been bland. But again, if you get the result, or maybe you're playing against the top of the league team, and you have to change your football to nullify them. You might have to go literally almost like a 4-5-1 and just block that midfield and have almost like a bust there. But if that's what gets you the point, and that point can then take you above another team or take you on par with another team, then it's worth it. It's no use going, oh, that was brilliant though. God, I know we lost 2-0, but God, did you see the way we attacked? Attack after attack after attack. Oh, we were so amazing. Hey, we didn't score, I don't know. And yeah, you got to be realistic with obviously what we got as well.
Yeah. And what we got is a low budget. We got one of the lower budgets in the league. And we got to be happy that we have got the quality of players that we have got there at the moment, because we have got great quality players. Josh Labardi, Josh Sheehan, Podge, Matt O'Brien, Demetrio. We got a great crop of players there at the moment, and we got to be lucky that we've got that crop of players at the moment.
I think the biggest thing for any football team is you got to have that spine constant. And I think, unfortunately for us, where we lost Demetrio and Hopkins with injuries and whatnot, that spine seemed to change a little bit. And then when what's his name? Millwall lad, Innes. And when he came in and he was consistent, he was loads better. But when he was coming in randomly, everyone was like, geez, this kid's just angry, just loves hacking through people. That's when we said about consistency. When you've got a consistent team and there's good rotation, there's rotation when players are just fatigued and whatnot in certain positions, but that spine has to stay the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every team that has been successful, the spine of the team has stayed consistent. That central defender, central midfielder, and striker, it's been consistent. You look at Man United in their heyday, Arsenal in their heyday when they had Henry, Vieira, and who was at the back?
Martin,
Tony Adams. Yeah, that spine.
Yeah.
Chelsea, you had Terry, Lampard, Drogba, consistent. And when that spine is steady, everything else either side you can change. But that spine is what keeps your squad consistent. And I don't think we've had that consistency in the defence or the midfield, really.
No, I think in League Two, I mean, as long as you've got a bit of creativity in your midfield, you know, and people who are able to create that solid physical environment, a goal scorer, a good goalkeeper, and an organised defence, you know, you can build success in League Two on the back of having that. If you look at like teams like Accrington, you know, Accrington had one of the lower budgets and they went and won the bloody league. But then they had players like your McCartans and, you know, who could create. You had Billy Key at front scoring their goals. They had their good goalkeeper. They organised their defence well. So they didn't have a team full of superstars. I mean, they had Janoy Donasian, and he was like one of the worst loan players I've ever seen play for us before, you know?
I mean, that says a lot. One of our players that was absolutely rubbish and we sent off, and he ends up with them, and they go up.
Yeah, exactly. Just goes to show. I mean, if you pinpoint certain positions in your team, in your starting lineup in League Two, then you can build around them as long as you've got the right sort of type of player. They don't have to be world beaters. They don't have to be League Two beaters. In fact, you know, they've just got to have the right stuff about them to be part of this team. You know, an organised team with an organised defence, a goal scorer, and a good goalkeeper, and some kind of creative spark in your midfield. You don't need to spend all your money on, you know, big players for all over. That's where a lot of teams like Portsmouth, 4 years in League Two, is because they tried to fill every single position with a big name player. Luton for years did that, but then they actually went and they got their Hilton, they got their who's the one? They had a Sheehan as well, and I think they and again Luke Berry, didn't they, from Cambridge as well? They got their creative spark in the midfield. They organised their defence and got a good goalkeeper as well, and that's why they eventually went on and got themselves promoted. Portsmouth done the same, and that's why they went on. They filled in those key areas, and I think in a way Flynn's tried to do that. Ammon being our goal scorer, Sheehan being our spark, organising the defence with good defenders, and then Tom King as a goalkeeper. So he's done the right thing in regards to bringing in the right kind of players. But then what you need are players you can trust, players who aren't going to make consistent mistakes. And unfortunately, the recruitment around those players has been rather poor.
I mean, you look at Ekpetita and Lazar. I ain't gonna have a go at saying his surname, but if you have a look at if you have a look at those two players now, when I first saw them, it looked on paper that seems like a pretty decent signings, because Ekpetita was doing really well then in conference, and you thought, well, he's got to have something about him if he's making a name for himself. And Lazar obviously had a pedigree coming from Millwall, I think it was.
Stojanovic was from Millwall, yeah.
But I think it opened my eyes when I was looking at the Sunderland Till I Die documentary about the scouting process. And you had a lot of the scouts on there were saying to the manager, it wasn't Cookie at the time, it was the manager just before Cookie took over. And they were saying how they hadn't actually viewed the player playing live and how they had gone off data and stats and whatnot. And I wonder, with our budget, if our scouts are actually going to games, or we're just getting players that we'll look at a resume and we go, oh, he sounds pretty good, rather than looking at someone how they play. So, I mean, that could be another thing that the club as a whole look at in the future. I'm not sure how the club do things, but if they are doing things where they're just picking data, and it seems most likely if they're using that what was the name of the agency they were using?
Management.
Yeah.
So
Elite,
at the last club meeting, I asked about them. I don't know an awful lot about them, so I asked the question. I didn't do it to try and trip anybody up or to try and bring them up so we could have a slanging match about them. I genuinely didn't know what they did for the football club, and apparently we only got 4 players who were actually on their books. So all this stuff about elite management being the problem, we've only actually got 4 players on our books who are on elite management's books.
That's
an
eye
loan players out that they've helped us loan players out. So players who've actually gone out on loan that they've actually helped orchestrate those deals.
That's really, really interesting then, because I mean, it could be that somebody in the club, everyone looks for a scapegoat. I think everybody looks for a reason to blame things on because it's a lot easier to do that than, well, just accept what it is. But it's interesting that if they're actually helping us, then one, what would our recruitment process be? As in, do we scout a player? How do we look at that player? How do we assess it? How do we then figure out if that player is the right one for us? And also then our recruitment process within the academy. Now, if we are the League Two club, you look at the importance of like at Exeter when they had their youth players coming through. Our sole goal should be within the next 5 to 10 years to be able to produce players or at least have a football team that has at least 4 of the starting lineup or 5 of the starting lineup that are academy based, but also they've got to be quality. Now, I'm not one of these people that's going to be dull and say, right, play all the academy boys. Oh, brilliant, look, we're playing all the youngsters, but we're down in the conference. Play them at the right level. I think Flinney was honest when he said our academy players aren't there yet. And as much as people don't like it, that's where we are at. However, the club needs to actively improve that situation. You improve your academy, that's a massive earner for you. And that's where a little club, well, no, not a little club like us, but as in like a little financially, we can make massive jumps by great player, sell it on. Great player, sell it on. As much as it might disrupt the football a little bit, you can earn a lot of money and then you might be able to buy some different things in.
Well, you're bang on there, mate, because you look at Exeter City, exactly the same as us, if you consider they do own their own stadium, that's the difference. But they own their own stadium, but before the recent improvements that they made, it was a shit stadium. Let's be honest, it was a nice stadium. It is now. So Exeter, right? Fans owned. Get a similar home crowd to what we get, or just a few bit more because they're winning games a lot more often than what we have been the last few seasons. So a similar size of fan base. Obviously, when we win more games, we get as many as 4,000 people. When they're winning games, they're getting 4,000 themselves. So fans owned, similar fan base, similar club sort of stature. The difference is with them, the reason why they're so strong at the moment is because the amount of money they've made in the transfer market on youth players, the amount of players they brought through. So you're absolutely bang on with that. So we're talking about Grimes, who's at Swansea. They made about 3 million off him alone. Not far off 3 million just on him. I believe there's a lad, what's his name? Can't remember his bloody name now. Hurricane, I think he plays for Villa now. I think he came through.
Is that it?
Yeah. Did he come through Exeter or Plymouth? I can't think who he came through. But he came from a League Two club. I'm sure it was Exeter. But there was others. Ethan Lampard who came through Exeter. Ollie Watkins, Tom Nichols. We're talking about quality young players coming through Exeter, moving on, and they've made millions in the transfer market, and I mean millions. So,
and also,
I don't know what you're saying.
Those youth players that they've brought through and also sold on, they seem to have made a mark at that level wherever they went. Now, the players that we've had that have gone on to do things, I mean, Connor Washington, he went somewhere and he stayed at that level as such.
Yeah.
Now, Regan Poole, cracking player, went to Man United and then ended up coming back down to our level then. Aaron Collins went on Wolves and then ended up coming back to us. Now, we need to have a look then at our academy system again. As much as people say about all these great young players that we've had, Essentially, they're coming back.
Mm.
We've got to look at the longevity. Why aren't we producing players or academy players that are either lasting at that level, or actually have a look at what is the reason why they are not lasting? Why have we got academy players that when they release, they end up playing in like Welsh League or something?
Mm.
We've got to shoot. We've got to aim for the stars. You've got to really improve the quality that's coming out of there because, again, Regan Poole, I know he's playing League One, but in my eyes, he should be Championship. So what's the reason why he's not Championship? Aaron Collins, obviously, I think he's a cracking player. He's a good lad as well. But again, he's gone from Wolves. What was the reason why he couldn't successfully stay at Wolves or make a mark in the Championship? And like your Ampadu's and whatnot, what is the difference in the coaching strategy from when they have them and the academy strategies to why these players aren't consistent staying up there?
Mm.
If that makes sense. I mean, like, what is it that the coaches are doing that allows those players to stay consistent? It might be a psychological thing.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, I think scouting is going to be a big part in the sheer number of good quality players leading through. I mean, we haven't really got many at the moment. I mean, we got Woodowis, Jeffries, Lewis Collins. Before that we had Aaron Collins, Tom Owen Evans, and another one who wasn't quite so Parcell, Kieran Parcell. Looked promising. Let go, didn't know why. Finley Wood, let go, didn't know why. And they're not really at any bigger club or anything like that. So they obviously let go because they just weren't up to it. So I think the junior coaching obviously needs to improve. I think the fact that we're now a level 3 academy means there's more money to be put into it. So the standard of coaching is going to improve their academy now. So we are going to be getting a better drip feed of good quality players coming through the academy now, because I think as long as the skating is right, as long as we're skating the right kind of players, and we're getting to them before the other clubs do, because that's another big problem. A potential really good striker that was going to come through us was Rhys Kavanagh, but instead of signing with us, he went off to Bristol Rovers at 16. He hasn't really done anything there.
And there's again, why are players looking at signing on for obviously other clubs then? So what essentially is in our academy system that a player doesn't see a stepping stone to a bigger future where they feel they have to go to another club to get that stepping stone?
Yeah. I mean, other players that have come through that are meant to be good. Liam Angel, he was meant to be the next Regan Poole. Didn't do anything. Another one, Mo Toure.
Yeah.
Hasn't quite hit the mark yet. But he's been in and around the conversation of being in the first team for the last 3 years. If he's not ready now, will he ever be ready?
True. And I wonder again, like obviously with the coaching setup and obviously these players, why we say ready, these players, they can do something, then all of a sudden they kind of end up going on alone somewhere and don't find themselves. Now, I say that as a lot of it comes down to mindset and obviously comes down to attitude. Now, I don't know any of these boys personally at all. This could probably be me just viewing them, obviously, as a fan would do, obviously on social media. You see what people get up to them or not. But when you look at these Hourahans and these Ampadu's and you look at their way, how they carry themselves and how they approach the situation, it seems totally different and worlds apart to how we do things. I don't know if there's an amateur mentality, but a professional ability, if that makes sense. So professional sporting ability, an amateur mentality where you would do certain things on the weekend or certain things in the week that are counterproductive to your football performance. I mean, essentially, you've got to be professional all the way through. What goes in your body, what comes out your body, etc., etc., etc. You probably know where I'm heading with it, but it seems that ethos is not instilled in the academy. That this is professional. I wonder what would happen if we actually got involved with Ewing or Cardiff Mets only down the road. I mean, they got some fab. I was quite lucky working with some of the sports psychologists up there. There's one guy, Dr. Ian Mitchell. I remember when I was in my third year of uni, he was our lecturer for psychology, and he was there obviously part time because his other job was he was working with Rafa Benitez as his sports psychologist.
You know,
And that is the caliber that you have on your doorstep. There's so many good people that we have around the area. And again, Ian Mitchell then went on to work with Cookie at the with the Welsh team, and he was one of the people that was one of the main people involved in that confidence process and that obviously that mindset idea to getting Wales to the Euros and sustaining it at the Euros. So I wonder if somebody, we probably wouldn't be able to afford him, but if we actually started investing in like sports psychologists and stuff like that, to actually not only just do it for the players, actually for the coaches as well. And you improve everybody's approach to things and their mindsets. You don't change the ability, you don't change the training, you don't change anything like that. You just change their approach to a situation. How would that affect the longevity? And also, you got something called hardiness, which is like your mental ability to withstand or withhold a situation. Like a lot of these players don't have that. Resiliency. They seem to be great for county, all this promise. Go and try and make yourself out somewhere, and they just kind of lose all that motivation and mojo.
Yeah.
They've got to keep that confidence all the time. They've got to keep that resilience. So if we can instill resilience as a whole club, as an ethos, then I wonder if that would have an effect, because obviously we got to look at our budgets and whatnot and what we can and can't afford.
Yeah, absolutely. So I say we've been rambling on for nearly 40 minutes now, mate. Fair play, you've made a hell of a video so far. So things, mate. On a more personal note, what's the first thing you're going to do once lockdown is lifted? For me, it's the barbers. I got to get the barbers. I'm looking like a freaking hobo at the moment, mate.
Mate, look at this.
It suits you though. You've got that punk rock kind of thing going on there, like, you know.
I don't know what's happening to it. I was feeling very free. I'm gonna be looking like Robbie Savage at the end of this.
Lily Savage, like, mate.
First thing I'm gonna do. That's a really good one. Do you know what? The first thing I want to do, I'd love to just get everyone down at Bar Amber, and I can't wait to pay £2.50 for a can of Stella at Bar Amber and be sat there with all the group that I go down there with, and that's the first thing I'm going to do when the bars are open. But apart from that, really, I don't know, just go outside. I don't know, I might go off and streak for a bit and go run around naked and just feel free.
You used to live.
Yeah, exactly.
The life you used to live, yeah.
It's weird because I still get outside, I still do my one day exercise and whatnot, but I don't know. I just want to go out. Cinema, McDonald's, Friars Walk, Poppers, Bogaffs. Tiny Rebel. I just want to go everywhere. I just want to go and walk around everywhere. I want to see everyone in Newport. I want to be able to hug everyone, kiss everyone, drink with everyone, and just see people again. That's it.
That's the one thing, being cooped up. You don't get to see people. For some, in some ways that's a good thing because there's some annoying bastards out there, of course. But then in other ways, mate, you're feeling quite antisocial, just sat in doing nothing all the time. Me and Leanne will be going out for our daily walk now. We will, and we'll run into people. We always make a point of saying hello to people just so you have that human fucking interaction,
Yeah. If you have this when you're out walking as well, the second you know someone and recognise them, you start getting all excited and you start waving at them and you all, it's beautiful.
Still 2 meters away though. 2 meters away.
Waving from a distance.
All right, that's it. And me and Leanne would be going out now. We'd be walking past Matty Dolan's house. He lives on the same estate as us. And Matty Dolan lives here. Mark O'Brien's missus used to live here, and I think Adi Aziz lives here. I don't know if he's self-isolated in Torquay or up here. But do you know Ryan Broom, who's banging in goals for Cheltenham at the moment?
Oh, yeah.
He lives on this estate as well.
What's he doing in there?
He's from down here. He's Welsh. He's a Welsh lad.
Bloody hell.
Him and his missus living in a house just up around the corner from us. His missus is an Avon customer of Leanne's.
This is brilliant. Oh,
All right.
my word.
Ryan Broom. What a fucking trick we missed there. You know, living in Newport, scoring goals for Cheltenham, could have been scoring goals for us instead. And he's going to go for some money in the summer.
And again, yeah, that's what I'm on about. We could be investing in people that are actually around our area rather than just on the corridor. But that'd be good, wouldn't it? If we get all the how many players do you reckon we could get on a Skype chat or a Zoom chat or whatever? How many players from the squad could we get on there and we'll have like a little chat with them?
Well, funny enough, I have actually approached the club about asking players if they'd do what we've done now. So I'm hoping for some good news on that. I'm having a call with Nigel Stevenson later in the week. So hopefully
fabulous.
Something, you know, have a
that was.
Yeah. So, get me, you, and Jamil Matt or someone like that in the same chat, and we just do a three-way talk. I mean, I'm sure plenty of people want to watch that.
This would be fun. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, so let's see if I can swing it with the club. Let's see if I can swing it. See if I can convince them that it's worth doing.
It'd be great for
me.
PR and whatnot. Anyway.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what this channel's all about. At the end of the day, you know, raise the profile of the club. You know, that's what it's always been about. That's why we started it for, and it makes us money, which we invest in certain things that either directly or indirectly financially benefit the club. So that's what the point is, mate. Anyway, John, it's been awesome, mate. It's been great to catch up with you. I'm looking forward to when we can actually do this in person again.
Absolute pleasure, mate. I'll think of some songs in between and some more football-related videos as well. I'll see what I can come up with this weekend.
Obviously, you're a good guitar player. Do you know the chords for Stone Roses' Fool's Gold?
I can learn them.
Right, I've got some lyrics to send you, mate. We're gonna make a new county song together on this one, I think.
Is that right? Done. It's happening. I'll have a go on that.
Yeah, I'll get the lyrics sent over shortly. And for everybody else who wants to know how this one goes, we'll update you momentarily on it. So, John, thank you very much, mate. And until the next time, cheerio for now. And as always, up the county.
Brilliant, up the county. Cheers, Chris. Take care, mate.
Thanks for joining me, mate.
Bye-bye.
Many thanks for watching the latest content on the Amber Army channel. Please make sure you leave us a like. Make sure you subscribe for more content, both for the neutral football fan and also plenty of Newport County. Even more Newport County content can be found on the club's iFollow channel on the link above. It is just £4.49 per month to subscribe to that service. And those of you feeling extra generous can also support us on Patreon on the link at the bottom there. That would be a monthly donation of your choice. Thank you again. Make sure you've subscribed, and as always, up the county.